I'm just interested, maybe instead I could ask you to join the dots between George Washington and the War of Independence and the GFC.
Yeah, well, as I said, I traced the patterns of behaviour all the way back to the American War of Independence. And I was looking for the very first investment banker in the United States. And I came across this character called Hames Solomon. He was quite a character, came from Europe, spoke various languages, quite an intellect, and was a supporter of the independent movement against the British, and noticed that to win any war, one needs money, one needs finance. And because of his network and connections, and again, I'll come back to that word network, because one of the key attributes of an investment banker is having a good network for distribution. So he had a fantastic network and was able to raise money through the issuance of what we would know today as capital markets instruments. And moreover, he was quite a wise guy who was able to use his connections. Again, another attribute of
wise
an investment
guy and
banker.
connections. It sounds like
something mafioso, probably.
Yeah.
But one of the things he did was he granted interest-free loans to a great number of congressmen. In those days, it wasn't a proper Congress. It was called the Continental Congress. And in return, sought some favours. One of the favours, I guess you could call it, was to almost usurp the authority of the Treasury Secretary. So he just stepped in and raised the funds that the new government needed. And of course, to prosecute the war and also to fund the post-war period. So that continued for quite a while. In the meantime, running his own investment banking activities and taking a clip on all the transactions. So there's a smart investment banker.
Cicero said that the sinews of war are endless money.
That's right.
Interesting, right?
That's right. So you asked the question, how do you relate that to the GFC? We saw a lot of examples of power and influence impacting on politicians and regulators in the lead up to the GFC. There are a number of, and I plot these in the book, a number of regulations that were enacted previously, following previous regulations that were repealed in the period prior to the GFC, solely due to the American system of lobbying and the power of the institutions that drove that lobbying.